The Lords of the End Times are coming. But this is Total War, not the actual End Times, so forget what you think you know about who died and who survived, and consider this potential campaign. Shattered, Morse-Leaf falls from the sky. The Vermintide surges. Mortal men stand ready. But how do they fare? In Middenland, the Beastmen are rising up to challenge the Empire, and good old Boris Todbringer's having none of it. We all know Boris, the one-eyed Elector Count of Middenland, wholesome chap's always chasing Beastmen, and today's no different. He'll wade into the front lines of any conflict, swinging Runefang and taking eyes. Use him on foot, or mounted on Warhorse, Pegasus, or Griffin. Ulrich loves you, Toddy, and so do we. It's a bold strategy to assault Middenheim's gates, but the Beastmen shouldn't be underestimated. Aye, Boris? Thankfully, the ever-devout warriors of Ulrich are ready to heed the call to war at the drop of a hat. Or howl. A good, cheap front line, clad in light armour, adept at culling rival infantry with their crush the weak ability. For now, we just need them to hold the line. Until our Knights Panther can seal the deal. Don't ask these armoured and shielded anti-large cavalry how they got their name, or their pelts. They're dedicated to fighting mutants and the forces of chaos, and have very big, pointy poles which should be used to great effect on the enemy's rear lines. The Beastmen are driven back, but the scent of blood will always summon war-starved orcs and goblins. A good thing too, because the priest of Ulrich is ready for a brawl. Two-handed axes on priests? Yes please. Priests of Ulrich are melee priests who call upon the fury of Ulrich and the chill of winter to buff allies and hex enemies alike, best used embedded amongst infantry on the front lines. The Wolfkin in particular are inspired by the priest's presence. These warriors are wholly dedicated to Ulrich. They roam the countryside in search of evil to expel. These hard-hitting, affordable combatants can go into a frenzy, making them immune to psychology. Perfect early-game damage dealers. The Wolfkin are working just as intended, driving these foul abomination into the jaws of our hunting hounds, who are very good boys, perfect for playing fetch with routing foes. The game wants you to think they're expendable, but they're absolutely not. The Orc and Goblin threat is almost expelled. Who better to deliver the killing blow than our Ulrich Emil Valger, High Priest of the Cult of Ulrich, Keeper of the Sacred Fire of Ulrich, and former Grand Master of the Knights of the White Wolf. But forget all that, he loves a good scrap. Throw him into the thick of it and watch as his hammer axe of skull and battle prayers fell foes and stoke the fires of battle in nearby allies. A fire that will need to remain lit as Boris's armies face their biggest challenge yet. Man-sized rats, ridiculous.
None shall forget. Grace, sear,
Man-sized rats obviously don't exist, but the moon's falling and the world's exploding, so Boris has entrusted the extermination of these so-called Skaven with a man who feels no fear. The Seneschal of the White Wolf cannot be cowed. Try it, he's immune to psychology when his commanding presence ability is activated. This sturdy, line-holding lord is a devastating combatant, adept at buffing leadership and defense. Well, the Ratmen definitely exist. Let's run them down. Send in the Knights of the White Wolf. Helmets, shields, those are for lesser knights. Big hammers, big horses. That's all the Knights of the White Wolf need. Send them after large targets and watch how happy the thrill of battle makes them. Speaking of unhinged madmen, let's see how our Todbringer guard are faring. The elite guard of the Ulrich, these fine fellows fight in heavy armour and wield two-handed warhammers. Better at offence than defence, they're particularly difficult to break and are making short work of these silly but numerous ratmen. Numerous is certainly the word. Let's see what we can do about that. Ice shard tempests, raging tornadoes, lightning strikes, even a cheeky meteorite strike. The celestial hurricaneums got them all. Sneaking near the front lines and nearby allies get a welcome little boost to melee attacks too. Just a lovely bit of kit this, just lovely. But is it enough to defeat the Vermintide? Short answer, no. And how could it be? Look who masterminded it. If there were another creature to better personify failing upwards, I don't know it. Though his plentiful schemes mostly lay in ruins, Thanquol's curried enough favour with the Council of 13 to still be considered one of the greatest Graciers to have lived. He devastates with laws of ruin and plague, but when mounted on Bone Ripper, his warp-wielding, four-armed rat ogre, he's as chaotically destructive as his reputation. Talking about chaotically destructive, let's meet the Pussbags. The most expendable unit that was ever expended. There's a lot of them per unit, they're riddled with diseases, which means they're literally dying. Passive abilities may be killing them, but that's by design. They explode when they die, damaging and contaminating enemies, so it's a sacrifice most Skaven Lords are happy to make. Most Skaven Lords would also happily welcome a Vermin Lord into their armies, but summoning the King of Vermin Lords is just the sort of misadventure Thanquol embarks upon. Not that Screech Vermin King minds. This spellcasting, fear-mongering, doom-glaive-wielding demonic rat thing is fast, deadly, and generally a good all-rounder. Well, that's humanity doomed. Let's have a bit of fun and unleash the Storm Fiends. All of them, all 6 variants, every single one, right now. Sorry Boris, but when Froth and Ikit Claw get together, magic happens. Because yes, rat ogres do need a second brain and copious augmentations. We've got 6 variants, 2 types, unlimited fun. Let's meet them. We've got Shock Gauntlets, specialised for taking down units with heavy armour and applying the Zap debuff. We've got Warp Fire, specialised for taking down tightly packed infantry units. We've got Rattling Cannons, specialised for taking down armoured units at a distance. We've got Grinder Fists, specialised for taking down walls and immobilising enemies. We've got Wind Launchers, specialised for taking down any unit from afar. And we've got Doomflayer Gauntlet variants, specialised for taking down, well, the Empire. Whoops. As the Empire falls, the Vermintide rises, and order cannot stand against the genius cunning of the Skaven's machinations. Machinations that not even the Chaos Gods can avoid. The Cauldron of 1,000 Poxes was snatched from under the nose of Nurgle himself, and is now one of Clan Pestilence's most sacred relics. Best used passively buffing everything from damage to defense to leadership, and actively spreading misery and pain with its bound spells and auras. But machinations without genius are mere plans. And the Skaven's genius is best showcased through destruction. The Warp Doom Magma Cannon. Need I say more? Use it as a siege engine. Use it to turn your enemies and sometimes your allies into green goo. Just use it now. Use it until all man-things are dead. Use it until the Horned One pays attention. Because when the Horned One pays attention, it delivers something special. These horned rat demons are both a reflection of the Skaven and the mind of the horned rat. They scheme, they betray, they have cool tales, and they come in 4 flavors. Corruptors, armor-piercing, anti-infantry lords who specialize in plagues and pestilence. Warpseers, armor-piercing and anti-large lords with warp-powered abilities, making them fearsome spellcasters. Warbringers, armor-piercing and anti-large lords designed for melee carnage. And Deceivers, powerful, armor-piercing, special ranged weapon-wielding lords who can teleport, snare, and work best alone. Generally, all Vermin Lords are good melee fighters with magical attacks, various spells, and lovely horns. These have been but a handful of battles, one outcome in an ever-changing theatre of war. The Lords of the End Times fought more than a handful of battles in their campaigns to dominate, destroy, or save the world. Both Thanquol and Boris will return in the weeks ahead, both in streams and further videos. Next though, we're returning to Nagash and Glotkin for an overview of their campaign mechanics. Hopes, dreams, unsolicited advice? Let us know in the comments below or follow our links to pre-order now.